this is a very important slide for Bluetooth RF testing. The RF testing of a Bluetooth equipment under test started as device under test, then it went to equipment under test. Now the current coolness is to call it an implementation under test, IUT. So you'll see all three of those abbreviations. Requires a test mode connection between the master and the EUT. And this test mode is defined in the spec. So it's a well-defined thing. It's not vendor specific. It's part of the Bluetooth SIG core spec. The EUT must be capable of this. Okay, you must have a Bluetooth test mode enabled. That's usually a bit flip or something in the software. And what that does is it allows the master, which would be our instrument, our test instrument, to talk to the device in a test mode and make it exercise its capabilities. The thing to remember is that test mode is usually disabled before a device is commercially shipped. Unfortunately, that means that I can't run down to Best Buy and pick up a headset and come back and hook it up in my lab to my CMW and do RF testing on it, because the test mode has probably been most likely disabled on a commercial off-the-shelf device. When I talk to a customer about doing RF testing, I say you have to have test mode enabled. And usually at the R&D level, they can do that. Either they can do it themselves, or they have to go talk to a software team, or they have to go talk to their vendor. Somehow they'll get test mode enabled in order to enable the RF testing of the device. One funny story about that. I had a customer one time, this is something to look out for. I had a customer one time that was swore up and down that test mode was enabled. They looked in their documentation, it was enabled. They're sending the AT command, it was enabled, guaranteed, right there, and sending the command right out of the document. And it wasn't working. So I went through and looked through their documentation also as a PDF, so I was able to electronically search it. And I found it in the next section. There was a description of how to enable Bluetooth test mode. So there's test mode, next chapter, Bluetooth test mode. Okay? So there is a distinction. They were in some test mode for some other reason, but Bluetooth test mode is defined in the core spec. It should be a function of your chipset.